we have to play here even though it's home. Like, this just isn't really right. And then
Right.
they just don't play as well as they should. But I don't know. Did you see last night that Illinois came out to Sirius?
Oh, no, I didn't see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, nice. Okay.
It was
All
pretty
right.
cool. It would
Yeah.
have been cooler if you won the game.
Right.
And then it would have been tough,
Right.
as the kids say nowadays. But big win for Nate Oates. But, I mean, can we actually start talking about how LeBaron Philon might actually win the Naismith Player of the Year?
He has been absolutely unbelievable. Of course, here where we are located in Mobile, he played his basketball right down the road, about 15 minutes down the road at Baker High School before taking his talents to an academy for his last season. But he won Mr. Basketball here, and it was pretty evident as to why. And you're seeing that translate on the college level. And he was really open about what Nate Oates told him he needed to work on, what the NBA scouts told him that he needed to work on, because he had his name in the draft for a little while. And one of the big things was leadership, because he has all the skills and talent in the world, but leadership and defense. You saw the defense come up last year. You're seeing the leadership come up this year. He scored a then career high 22 points in the opener. Then he scored 25. He now scores 24. We talked about this yesterday with Owe for Kentucky. Major expectations, and has not necessarily
Right.
so far lived up to them. I think with Zach Edey early on at Purdue, saw some struggles early. He ended up obviously putting it together. Arch Manning is another
Yes.
classic example of a lot of hype going into the year and not necessarily living up to it, especially early on. He certainly played better
Right.
as of late. I find it really interesting that LeBaron did come back with all this hype, and now he's living up to it, especially in the biggest games.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of a SEC football comparison. You can't compare him to Ty Simpson because Ty really didn't have
Right,
any
right.
expectations coming into the season
Yeah.
because no one really knew what you were going to get out of him.
I was-
Maybe a Diego Pavia.
Right, somebody who's coming back and
So I mean, LeBaron, he shows his personality out on the court.
For sure.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
into games, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what Diego is.
yeah, and I think a little bit. It might not be an apples to apples, but I think it's a little like Ryan Williams, where he has this really, really good first year, and they're expecting him to have another great year. And I know Ryan, he struggled with some drops and all things early on, and there will
Right.
be no perfect comparisons, but I do think that there are certain people that come in and say, hey, I need to work on this.
Yes.
And they're working on it. And it makes it seem like a guy that understands his ultimate goal. I'm sure he's got 2 goals. 3 goals maybe, to win an SEC championship, to win a national championship, and then go first round in the NBA
Yes.
draft and be a first round draft pick and go make some serious money. And it looks like a guy that took all of the advice he was told in order to hit all 3 of those goals. And so far, like, once again, it's very early in the season, only 4 games in. Yeah. But so far, it seems like he's taken that advice to heart.
Yeah, and the most important thing for him is I know they've got another one against Gonzaga. We'll
Yep.
talk about that game here in a few minutes. But when they go back to playing the cupcakes, not to just let up. I mean, use those
That's the
games
thing.
as something
Yeah.
you want to continue to work on something. What's a part of your game that just isn't working right now? Or,
Right.
I mean, there really is nothing that's not working for him. What's a part of his game that he wants to make a little bit better that could, help determine what this team does in SEC play? I feel like I don't want to make any early predictions, but I feel like Alabama's pretty much in the tournament
Yeah,
already.
absolutely.
As long as they finish in the top half of the SEC, they definitely
Right.
have the resume to do that. But no, you have a tough week next week with Feast Week, but that's exactly what you want. I think to Alabama's advantage is they're playing all of these tough games going into Feast Week,
That's
so
right.
they're already battle tested before some of these other teams are.
Right.
So I mean, you can come out the gates hot. You can shoot it. Alabama isn't afraid to shoot it. I think would they shoot 66 shots against
against
St. John's?
St.
And
John's,
last
yeah.
night I didn't look, but
I'll
probably
pull up the stat sheet. Yeah.
should we play that game again?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so 90 points last night, and
Yeah.
it was back and forth all the way up until the end. It's definitely in the 60s. I want to say 68.
All right, from 68 from the field. You are really good at this. 66.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say
30
like-
of 66 from the floor.
If I said 66 in both games, then I would have had it right in both games. But
Right. And 36 of those were from downtown.
Yeah,
So
I mean-
36 threes. They made 13 of them. Went to the free throw line 23 times, made 17. And Illinois took more shots. It took 73 shots. And so look at the total turnovers. Only 1 was the difference there. So I just think it's a great resume win for these guys. And like you said, when they go in, I think the challenge is almost the opposite. Typically, when teams play a very soft schedule early, you have to kind of get up mentally and rear yourself up for those big games. For Alabama, they play so many big games, you almost have to find your way to get yourself up for the teams that you're better than going into the rest of the season.
Exactly. And I'm going to go back to them shooting the three ball a lot, because when I was watching the game last night, it wasn't like – so the court had both the college line and the NBA line.
Right.
It wasn't like they were just taking them from just behind the college line. They were – some of those shots, I think Holloway took a shot from at least 35 feet away.
Right, yeah.
I mean, just ridiculous range.
Uh-huh.
We call that limitless range in the 2K world. But, I mean, they're not afraid to shoot it. And the three ball, what happens in March? What do you need to have going for you? You need to be able to shoot the three. That's going to not only get you in games, but that's also going to turn the momentum. I mean, it used to be a dunk. Nowadays, I'd say a big three-pointer changes the momentum more than a dunk now.
Absolutely. No question about it. So Alabama does get that win there in Chicago over Illinois. We got a chance to hear from head coach Nate Oates on LeBaron Philon's performance.
Yeah, I think he scored 9 straight points somewhere in that stretch. I don't know where exactly that all was, but, I mean, he's – look, man, he has a lot of fun playing basketball. He competes. I'm on him about playing harder, being smarter. He's got to stay in the game. The fouls he has, he's got to stop with it. He had a bad gamble defensively there when we need him to get stopped. But I think playing with 4 fouls, was hoping to get a steal and not have to guard. I think it was on Stojakovic. No, it was either Basel or Stojakovic. I can't remember. So, look, man, offensively, he's super talented. I told him our team's going to go as he goes a lot. So he's going to create a lot of shots we've got some elite shooters that I think can get better shots. Holloway is a way better shooter than what he showed tonight, because I didn't think we necessarily got him great shots. Houston Millett's better shooter. Those guys, Houston Millett, Reitzel, and Holloway are a lot better than 25% like they were tonight. But I think Barron, being as aggressive as he was to score, I think can open some stuff up for those guys down the road, get those shooters going. But, man, we needed his points there in the second half tonight for sure.
So the second half performance there was kind of the turnaround for this basketball team. And I continue to celebrate these matchups. And it's not just, this matchup with Alabama and Illinois. It's also what we saw Kentucky matching up against Michigan State. It's Texas and Duke.
Right.
I really like this for the SEC. SEC obviously set a record last year. 14 teams of the 16 made it to the big dance, 2 in the Final Four. Won the national championship as well, and the one that was the national championship winner wasn't the team that was the number 1 overall seed. That was Auburn. Auburn was the number 1 overall seed. They didn't win the championship. It actually happened to be one of Bruce Pearl's former assistant coaches who won the national championship there in that game. So I just think that this bodes well for the SEC, and I'm not sure what the overall numbers will be at the end of the non-conference slate, but I do think the SEC will once again prove itself to be the upper echelon conference in all of college basketball.
Oh, for sure. And I think LeBaron Philon could honestly make his case. Again, it is very early on this season. We need to keep on reiterating that. But he could definitely make his case for SEC Player of the Year, especially with the preseason SEC Player of the Year. No take away, kind of being a mystery here at this point. But I think we talked about it before the St. John's game, and we looked at this stretch with Scott Griffin, and we were like, okay, I think if Alabama could get 2 wins here, they'd be in a great spot. Well, guess what? You already have 2 wins.
You do, yes.
And, you're going up against Gonzaga next, which we can go there now if we want.
Yeah.
Gonzaga looks good this year.
They do.
And honestly, I think they could be a sleeper for a Final Four because in the few games that they have played against Power 4 opponents, it feels like they just dominate teams. There's few teams where I can confidently say, hey, these teams are going to go far this year. And one of them is Gonzaga. The other one's Arizona with Koa Pete.
Right.
I mean, that dude is incredible as a freshman.
Yeah.
But big one next week, big tournament, the Players Era Festival in Vegas. There's so many teams, so many good teams. Honestly, and we talked with Roger about this on Monday.
Yeah.
The Maui is so down this year that the Players Era is probably better.
Probably, yes.
It probably has a better field than the Maui.
Yes, exactly. And it's in Sin City, so it's right here. It's over there in Vegas. But I'll split some teams out for you. Rutgers, Tennessee, Creighton, Baylor, Kansas, Notre Dame, Iowa State, St. John's, Houston, Syracuse, of course, Auburn and Alabama, Oregon, Gonzaga, Michigan, San Diego State, UNLV, Maryland. These are teams not only with the great pedigree as far as just, what they've done in the past.
History, yeah.
But here in the last half decade or so, that's most of your Final Four teams. That's a couple of your one national champion. But you just have a bevy of teams right here in it that I think if you walk away from this and you have a couple of wins. Bama plays, of course, Gonzaga, and they'll play UNLV. Auburn plays Michigan, and they also play Oregon. Tennessee will play Rutgers early, and then they'll play Houston. I think if you walk away from this thing and you're able to stay healthy, number one, get a win or two, I think you're in great shape.
I mean, if they walk away with this and win it, I think this is the tournament where if you win, you get NIL money.
Yes.
So not only do you get NIL money, but you are easily a top 4 team in the country.
No question.
I mean, you can't make the argument against it because of how good that this field is. But obviously, you got to win the first one.
Right.
You got to win the one against Gonzaga first. And then, let all the other stuff just be gravy afterwards.
Yeah.
No pun intended. I know next week's Thanksgiving.
And it's definitely feast week there. And if you're a college basketball fan, it'll be feasting there for sure. Coming up next on our show, we will have a lot of great guests on today. We have a lot of great topics as well. We will talk with our good friend Courtney Mims here in just a second, talking some Arkansas football, also some basketball, and so much more coming up next. Welcome back to Southeast Sports Plus here, continuing on a Thursday. Looking forward to some great action, but also digesting the week that was. We will do so very briefly in football with our good friend Courtney Mims. And we've talked a lot about Arkansas, because Arkansas was one of the first jobs that came open on the gridiron, and we have seen what this program has become since then. and it feels like there's a lot of almost victories there, and just some almost moments with this football team. And I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Yeah, again, no. It's another one-score game. All right, so I promise you, we'll keep the football conversation very, very short before we go to basketball. What's going on there with the Hogs of the Gridiron?
Why did you have to do that?
I'm sorry.
All right. We're shaming him. We are publicly shaming him.
It's obligatory. You know, we got to talk a little football.
I understand, but you had to come in with they almost did it.
They almost did it.
I mean, but you're exactly right. That's where this Arkansas team is right now, where you watch that first quarter against LSU, and I'm even going, okay, they could do it. This is a great chance. I mean, you look at the last 3 games for Arkansas, and I think I came on here last time and said this. LSU arguably is the game that they had the most success or the most likely success in, because I just don't think people have them beating Texas, and I don't think people have them beating Missouri. So I think you look at that LSU matchup, 2 interim head coaches, okay, it's a battle for the boot. There's a lot on the line. Even though these programs haven't had the seasons that they wanted, it still means something to them. And so you were going into that game going, yeah, okay, Arkansas's been so close. Something has to fall for them, right? Something has to happen. And you watch that first quarter and you're like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then they just don't. And that has been rinse and repeat, right, guys? I feel like I say the same thing when I come on the show. The same thing, the same issues hurt Arkansas. I tweeted that out, and I'm going to say it on the show. 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I tweeted out death, taxes, and Arkansas turning the football over. And I brought that tweet up again because I said, wow, this tweet once again is relevant every single week. Right. And so Arkansas, it's just somebody was like, is this the best, worst team ever for Arkansas? Is this the best, worst team ever?
Yeah.
And I think there's an argument for that. I really do, because they've been so close. I mean, we're talking about a totally different season where Arkansas, if you flip those one-scores, if those one-score games go Arkansas's way instead of the opposite, you're talking about a playoff.
No, absolutely.
That's insane. That's insane to me to think about, that they're so close yet so far away from being a team that we could actually be talking about possibly in a playoff conversation, but they are not. So that's where we're at right now. Hopefully fans get up for Texas this week. Let's go. Come on.
I'll keep my football question very brief. This will be the only football question I'll ask, and then we can get to basketball here in a little bit. But it just seems so interesting because not only do they have these close games, but early on in the season, it was all on the defense. The defense just couldn't get a stop, and the offense was rolling. Now it almost feels like it's flipped, where the defense played pretty good against LSU. The offense couldn't get anything going, so it just boggles my mind. And I know Hunter Yurachek said when we're trying to find a new coach, we don't really want to get in these one-score games. Another shocking thing is I don't understand why the people still are rallying around Bobby Petrino, because he's doing exactly what Sam Pittman has done in a way. Like, it just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
You are speaking to the choir here, because I have asked people, why are you supporting Bobby? Because I could understand it if he had a couple of wins under his belt. I'd be like, okay, let's seriously look at him. But he's done the same thing that you guys criticized Sam Pittman for and put him on the stake and said, we don't want this coach because he can't close out one-score games. That's what he struggled in. Well, now you're looking at Bobby Petrino not being able to do the same thing. And people go, okay, all right, I'm going to say this. People go to me, Courtney, he didn't pick this team. That's Sam Pittman's team. He picked this offense. Yeah. He literally handpicks some of these offensive guys. So what do you can't give me that argument. Sure, he maybe didn't pick the defense, but he definitely picked this offense. So at least half the team he needs to claim. So I don't understand that argument there. I don't understand that argument. I'm going to be honest with you. And I really, truly, I've told you guys this on the show. I do not think the next head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks will be Bobby Petrino. I do not think that will happen. If it does, I'm not coming on the show again. I'm done covering the Razorbacks. I am done. I am done. Bye. See you later. I'm out of here. I'm sorry. I'm done.
I can see Courtney's contract having a clause in it and saying, hey, look, no more Arkansas Razorback football ever again. I'll talk any other sport. We'll talk track and field all day. We'll talk basketball all day, baseball, no football whatsoever with this team. I get it. And honestly, I would understand covering this football team. And I get it because, and I don't think, I'm right there with you. I don't think Bobby Petrino will be the guy moving forward. I think you had to have won at least, I would say, at least 2 to 3 of these games. I don't even think one win. I don't think Saturday's win would have got him that job either. I think the fans that have that nostalgia, if you just look at the win-loss, you fired a coach, Pittman, for the exact same results that you're getting right now. And so I just don't think there'll be enough people behind Bobby with the situation for him. And final thing on this week, Texas, as you said, the team that's coming up this weekend, is there any shot, in your opinion, to be able to pull off a win against a team that might be a little down in the dumps right now with their playoff hopes, on a thread right now?
So I always say this, guys, and this isn't me just blowing smoke. This isn't me just, oh wow, she's a Razorback person, okay? But you have to really, when you talk about this Arkansas-Texas matchup, right, and you look at the history of it, this is a historic rivalry between two programs that now have a rivalry renewed, right? In the old Southwest Conference, these two teams, when they matched up, oh my goodness, you get out the popcorn for it, right? It was an exciting event when these two teams matched up. When obviously Arkansas moved to the SEC, that rivalry didn't get played, and didn't get played, I should say, as much as when it did when they were in the same conference. And so that was kind of sad for fans. Now it's come back, and that's the good thing about the expansion of the SEC, right, is that these rivalries are renewed. And so really, when you talk about this matchup, I think there's an extra motivation for Arkansas. Now, having said there's extra motivation for Arkansas, I don't know if extra motivation, I feel like there's extra motivation in every game now for them because they haven't won a game. They're on an 8-game losing streak right now. So it's like, every game means something to them, right? Yeah. Every single game means something to them.
Right.
Because if I'm those players, I want to win at least one game, right, in the SEC. Right. I want to win at least one game in conference play. And so for me, I think this team is already motivated. Maybe having it be a rivalry matchup is a little bit of extra, spice on top of the cake, so to speak, right? But I think genuinely, do the Razorbacks have a chance? Sure. They've had a chance in every game.
For sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
They've had a chance in every game. Is this Courtney saying put money on the Hogs? No. Because
never do that.
We've seen from them, no. Because everything we've seen from them is they will find a way to blow it. They will find a way to blow it. Arch Manning will probably look like a Heisman candidate against the defense, even though the defense has been playing well. Okay? This is just how it goes for Arkansas fans and for this Arkansas team. I hope they prove me wrong, but I think Texas will have a day against them. I know Steve Sarkisian was like, well, it could be a trap game. It's definitely a dangerous game. Okay, sure. Whatever you want to say, sure. I really feel like Texas is going to go in there and beat their butts. And maybe it'll be close. Maybe it will. But if it's close, we know who to take. It's not Arkansas, okay? It's Texas.
Not Arkansas in football, but in hoops, you take them because Arkansas did get a win. A very close win.
But they can't even escape that because the last two have been close games.
They've been close games against inferior opponents. Arkansas was a 23.5-point favorite against Winthrop, and Winthrop easily took the money there as far as on the point spread. I know it's a win, and I know you're thinking like, whew, all right, avoided the disaster, but whew, what was that?
That's what we've talked about, guys. This team needs to get a whole lot better. I think I said it on the show. And Patrick, you brought this up with me, so I'm going to give you credit.
What?
Okay?
I think I know where you're going.
Defensively, Patrick, okay?
I've watched too many Coach Cal teams in March to not expect this.
Yeah.
Okay, and listen, I'm with you on this. Now, do I think it's a time to hit the panic button? No, I don't. Coach Cal knows it's an issue as well. He gets in the press conference, and I don't know if you guys heard that soundbite, but he said we're going to go back to 8th grade stuff.
Oh, we have that. We have that.
Yeah,
we do have that soundbite.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go back to some 8th grade stuff here. We're going to pass the ball 5 times before you can shoot. We're going to go back to some of these little. You guys are laughing, but I love John Calipari. I love covering him. I'm sorry, Kentucky fans. I love him, but perimeter defense has got to get better.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, they give up way too many threes. You're putting up the stats there, 15 threes. You're also leaving number 2 wide open way too many times. Why? Communication breakdowns. They're having communication breakdowns on defense, and you're watching it happen because Calipari's right. They're not talking with each other. Communicate. Tell him, no, I've got him. I'm staying on my man. No, do not. Back off. Like, this is what has to happen on the court. Otherwise, if you don't communicate and you're like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, number 2's taking another 3. Oh, he's made his 7th 3. That's wonderful. That's great. Okay, so that's one thing. That's one thing. I'll tell another thing to everybody out here. Another thing that needs to get better with this Arkansas team is their interior presence with their big men.
Yeah.
I mean, Trevor Brazile looked better in that game. Nick Pringle looked better in that game. But Nick Pringle, that was a stark difference from his stat line against Samford. So it's like, you've been playing in the SEC, dude, for how long now? How long now? You can't have one night on and one night off. We need consistency from you. And Malik Ewan, the biggest, I don't even know what to say about this guy because I can't even understand why the fall off has happened from what he was doing at FSU versus what he's doing at Arkansas. It's truly baffling. And I'd have to be in practice to understand exactly maybe why.
Right.
But maybe the coaching staff is also going, why is this guy not showing up at all? At all. And this is a guy at FSU who is doing so many different things for them, and was a presence on the stat sheet, and now he's not at all. And so that's an issue as well. So their big men need to step up in a very big way. You cannot just rely on Malik Thomas. You cannot just rely on Darius Acuff. You cannot just rely on your 2-star freshman. You've got to have other guys step up, and that's what I think John Calipari is trying to figure out right now, because you've got so many teams around the league, and even, not even just around the league, around college basketball in general, that look like they have it together, right? This so far in conference play. And this team looks like it's still trying to figure itself out a little bit.
Absolutely. I think you should be John Calipari for Halloween next year because your impression of him is absolutely spot on. You just need the red suit. I don't know if you're really going to go for it, but if you just do that and go to every party and you just talk like Coach Cal, and you got it. You got it. That was great. Yeah, that was
Gerhard,
yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm
love
going to
it.
dress up as Coach Cal.
I love
doing it.
I love it. Heck yeah. Let's hear from the real Coach Cal about going back to middle school fundies.
They're not afraid. They're coming in, push them, shove them, go rebound. They're not going to rebound on you if you're bodying them. We got it. And again, it's not on these players, it's on me. The one thing we did at the end out of a timeout, like one of the first things we've executed this year, bypassed and Nick threw it into TB and we end up getting, that basket, which was a huge basket, by the way. But execution, how about we may go back to how you guys grew up, if any of you really ever played basketball, where you had to pass it 5 times before you shoot it. You all that do that? I think we're going to do that. 8th grade. We're going to go 8th grade. You got to pass it before 5 or 6 times. Coach Knight had a lot of fun doing that. That's how they played. The ball's moving, you're screening, and until we get to this, you're not shooting the ball.
That was great. That was absolutely great. And
I love him.
Yeah.
I love
So
Coach
good,
Cal.
man.
I do.
So good.
Oh.
and who knows? It might just help. He said he invoked the name of Bobby Knight and hey, and he's apparently it worked for him.
Yeah.
Won championships and it was great. But I'm telling you, it's at least you were on the right side of a close game there. If I know there's no such thing as moral victories, but there are such things as real victories. Football, maybe not. Basketball's holding the rope.
Basketball is, and Gerhard, if there's one positive, right, a win is a win. There's a reason why that saying comes into play, right?
Yep.
And I think if you can take away one positive from that game against Winthrop, it's that you found a way to come back and win. You're down by 5 going into the final minute, right? And they didn't let go of the rope. They said, we're going to find a way. They all stayed positive in the huddles. That was something Cal said. They came in, they said, look, we want to win this game. How do we do it? What do we do? And honestly, I mean, I'll just say this on Winthrop's final shot, right? The final few seconds of the game, they have a chance, right? Arkansas played lockdown defense, Patrick. To your point, Arkansas played lockdown defense, and I'm going, okay, y'all can do it. Y'all can do it. You just showed it. So I want to see that for 40 minutes, people. For 40 minutes. That's what I want to see. So, and I know Coach Cal's saying that to them as well, but that is the positive. There are other teams that would have just said, it's over, it's done. We're losing, and this team said not happening. They stuck together, and I think that bodes well for tough times down the road. I get it, it's Winthrop, I get it, but you can use that same mentality when it comes to SEC play, when it comes to, I don't know, maybe Duke on Thanksgiving Day. You know, maybe they get in a situation where they need to really stay together and to try and win that game. I don't know, but that mentality is good to see, especially with so many, young faces on the squad as well, and those young freshmen. They've all got a really good mentality. So.
Absolutely. Courtney, thank you for the laughs, for the fun, and
you.
for all the insight on Arkansas football and basketball.
I appreciate it, guys. Hey, I'm just trying to live up to Chess on this show, okay?
We don't mean to make it a competition.
Yeah, we don't mean to make it a competition. She's out here, her. Whenever she gets on her, whenever she gets on her soapbox about LSU, and Lord knows she's had plenty of opportunities to. It's hilarious stuff. But no, it was great, and we'll bring out the Courtney Mims crystal ball next week, like we talked about last week.
Oh, that's right. We got to bring the crystal. We didn't even bring out the crystal ball.
I know we're finding a sponsor first. We're gonna make money off this first. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. We got to do that.
For sure, Courtney. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Courtney Mims, Southeast Sports Plus here
I tell you
today.
what.
Yeah.
We got Courtney's crystal ball. I know we might run into some trouble, but we could do Mad Dog Mims as well.
Mad Dog Mims. Oh, I like that.
Boom.
I like that. Especially when she gets angry.
Yes.
She gets a little John Calipari angry about it. Going back to 8th grade fundamentals. Keep it right here in Southeast Sports Plus. We head out to Missouri next. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, Missouri snapped a 2-game losing streak with a big win over Mississippi State. We are joined by Kevin Ryans now out of St. Louis. First of all, Kevin, you mentioned it last week. One of the big things we talked about was now it's a true freshman quarterback coming in, and he's got all the hype. He's got all the love. What are you going to do? And you said it last week, run the football. And that's exactly what Ahmad Hardy did, more than 300 yards and putting himself in the SEC record books among some of the best individual performances. What did you make of that game, being able to win decisively as Missouri did, and the performance from Hardy?
Yeah, it makes it all the more confounding as to why they didn't run Ahmad Hardy the week before against Texas A&M. I know he had the 13 carries and the 100-plus yards, and Eli Drinkwitz will make an excuse for it, running Jamal Roberts a little bit more. We love Jamal Roberts here in St. Louis. St. Louisan had a great high school career. He's had a nice career at Mizzou. But Ahmad Hardy is among the best running backs in the country, and you saw why. It was on full display. And that performance might be one of the best that I've ever seen a Mizzou running back have. He was just so fantastic and really paced their offense. And I think it definitely settled down Matt Zollers a ton. He was able to be a little bit more decisive there in the passing game and helped that part a lot. And I thought that Mizzou bounced back in a huge way, taking care of the opponent that they should have beaten, one, but then two, was able to get that good winning feeling back over in that locker room in Columbia.
Kevin, earlier in the week, Gerhard and I did a little debate on who the better running back is, Kewan Lacey or Ahmad Hardy. Now, I want to get your opinion, who is the better running back, but with a different running back, Ahmad Hardy or Jeremiah Love?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. Jeremiah, we know him very well here, CBC High School alum in St. Louis. Jeremiah's ability to, in so many different ways, he can catch, he can run. He's so shifty, so athletic, just the raw natural ability to be able to go out and do and run his position. I just remember he used to just take over games here just by himself at CBC. In fact, the state championship might have been his last game of his high school career. I think he had like 5 touchdowns or whatnot, and they closed out the game in overtime. I mean, about as solid of a performance to close out a career as I've ever seen. And so just from a pure athletic standpoint, in person seeing, I maybe give the edge to Jeremiah Love, but Ahmad Hardy has proven that he is 1,000% worthy of being among the Power 4 good running backs, and perhaps putting himself among the best running backs ever in Mizzou history.
Absolutely, and we also got a chance to see the young guy at QB1 really step up here. Before we get your thoughts on it, let's hear from Coach Eli Drinkwitz on Matt Zollers.
Matt Zollers has been awesome, and Matt is currently our starting quarterback. But yeah, I don't. We don't have a Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady thing here brewing yet. So, but I've been very, very impressed with Matt Zollers. I thought he played a heck of a game. I told him yesterday, man, of the 15 passes, I mean, you were just like this. It was awesome. You know, we had 2 touchdowns early, then an interception, 2 intentional groundings, and you just kind of eased your way back into finding it. So, but the thing I was the most impressed with Matt was. The moment was never too big for him. I mean, he had a plan. He executed his plan. He got a game ball after the game. He addressed the team. I think he understands the situation with Bo. I think they've got a great relationship. I know that Matt is going to have an excellent week preparing. I know that Matt will be prepared to go on the road and play this game. And that's my anticipation going into it, is that Matt will be our starting quarterback this week. And if something changes, like I said, log on to Twitter and get your news there first.
I love Coach Drink always just like trolling the media, so to speak, there as it relates to him. We were talking in the break that the quarterback position there doesn't seem to be one that Drink has always gotten right, but it seems like they've at least been able to hit the right notes with Zollers as they move forward now to play a team that right now is squarely in the hunt for a college football playoff in Oklahoma. What do you make of not only Zollers, the offense, and what they need to do on Saturday to pull off the upset?
Yeah, there's no question that he has some ability. The moments that he had against Vanderbilt to keep Mizzou in that game. In fact, they were inches away from tying that game, sending it into overtime squarely because of his poise and his ability to throw the ball. So Matt Zollers has a lot of talent, and that should excite the Mizzou fan base. They're going to have freshman moments. The game against Texas A&M is a good example. 7 of 22, he was kind of forcing it. He threw the ball really hard, way past receivers, missed a ton of guys. You're going to have a lot of freshman moments for sure. But this is another test for him. If it indeed is him, there's been talk about if Bo Pribula passes some protocol that he might get the nod, but they're expecting Matt Zollers to play. If Matt Zollers goes up against this elite Oklahoma defense, it's going to be very tough. Probably one of the toughest defenses Mizzou has seen all season.
Yeah.
Then, it'll be a good challenge for him to go up against a team like that. And I'm excited to see how he embraces that and maybe gets back to maybe where he was over at Vanderbilt after having some success last week.
Kevin, I know you probably don't want to flip to this topic, but I feel like we have to because I'm a big hockey guy. I'm a big hockey guy, and it's sad to see what's happening to the Blues right now. It just feels like they find new ways to lose. It's a disgrace. Yeah.
The way that they lost a couple of nights ago in Toronto, when they were kind of just skating around with the puck in overtime. They didn't really force the issue offensively. They had the puck most of the period. And for them not to get really good looks was really disappointing. We were kind of chuckling in the sports office because we were like, what are they doing with the puck? They're just kind of circling around with it, not really forcing the issue. And then defensively at the end there, John Tavares has been one of the most elite players in the sport.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing triple teaming him on the corner and leaving 2 other guys wide open? And then Nylander, all he had to do was a couple of dekes, and then he was wide open at the net. Very disappointing with the way that they've started their season. Jim Montgomery is very lucky that he's only been here maybe a year.
Yeah.
If this was a multiple-year head coach, this kind of performance gets coaches fired.
So
and I don't think he's on the hot seat because he had such a great end of the season last year. But Jim Montgomery has not the team has not done the job that we've all expected them to do coming off of the great finish that they had to 2024-25.
Well, and Jim Montgomery also led the Bruins to the President's Cup. Or the President's Trophy, sorry. I'm so used to football and golf right now. He led the Bruins to the President's Trophy.
Florida.
Yeah, and then Florida upended
them. And one of the most historic teams, too.
Yeah.
So there's been a mixed bag with him in his coaching career. No question that wherever he goes, he kind of transforms the culture, gets them in the right track. And Boston was an elite power in the Eastern Conference for during his period, except for the end of his tenure there in the opening portion of last season. There's still time for the Blues, but one of the things I've been saying about them over the last few years is, and it's been apparent, the 2 years that they missed the playoffs, they struggled in the beginning of the season. They tried to kick it into gear, and then they couldn't quite have enough time to be able to finish and get to the postseason. Last year, they were able to make up the ground because they went on such a long winning streak. You continue to do this where you're struggling in the beginning, you try to kind of figure it out in the middle of the year, end of the year, you're going to realize that you can't really play that way. Consistently all the way around, you got to start off the season strong and continue strong. And I think we're realizing that here in St. Louis, that not every year can be like 2019, not every year can be like last year. And so the Blues are struggling, but a chance on the East Coast to get it right. The Flyers, Islanders and Rangers aren't necessarily big juggernauts. The Devils are having a really nice season. So we'll see if they can kind of figure it out over on the East Coast. But something's got to give now, because before you know it, it's going to be too late.
And Devils will be out without Jack Hughes for the foreseeable future after that freak accident. But
so fortunate. He just has such bad luck.
Yeah. But so what I'm hearing is we're not going to have another Mike Yeo, Craig Berube situation where Yeo gets fired mid-season. The Blues are in last in the Western Conference, and they surge right up and win the cup.
You know what? If they somehow pull together and win the Stanley Cup, I'll take it. Here in St.
I mean,
Louis,
they did it
cover big
coming out of
events.
the last in the West a few years ago.
They're struggling, and I just don't see it happening that way. I think Jim Montgomery's earned himself a year here to be able to get things right. Especially the way that they ended last season. But the unacceptable the way that they've been playing to start the year.
Absolutely, and we'll hope to get things to turn things around. I mean, I'm with you on the I'm a Kraken fan, but I'm rooting for you to have good days at work. You know what I mean? And it just
Billy likes the Kraken because they're new.
Yeah, I do. I didn't want to jump on any bandwagon.
I like the name though, the Kraken.
Oh yeah. The name.
That's a good name, and Seattle, one of the top cities.
100%.
To be a sport.
100%.
So I'm a big fan of that too. My New York Rangers are really struggling. It's been horrible to watch it.
Sorry, my Lightning are just as bad.
Oh my God, they're awful at home. I can't stand it. It's so they win all these games on the road though. They're amazing.
We had to teach Simone that.
Exactly.
They're the only team to get shut out in their first 3 home games.
Yes.
Just unbelievable.
I've never seen anything like it. The way that they performed. I don't even know. I guess they have a couple of wins now, but I've never seen anything like it before. The way that they started out over on home. I'll reach out to our girl Simone, make sure she knows. Hey, look, keep an eye on them Rangers.
Absolutely.
What is wrong with them in Madison Square Garden? The Mecca. Come on.
We'll tell her to send some Kevin Ryan's inspiration. Go talk to the team one day before they hit the ice. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here on Southeast Sports Plus today. Thankful for all your insights on Missouri Tigers football and St. Louis Blues hockey.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Kevin from St. Louis. I had no idea until just a moment ago that he's actually a Rangers fan.
Yeah.
So you want the team that he roots for. I want the team that he roots for to do well, but you want the team that covers also do well. Once they both have a lot of frustrations.
It definitely gets tough if both of those teams are kind of like that. That's how I kind of feel about college football this year. I know we cover teams in the Southeast,
right?
But the team I grew up liking, Orange, garbage, and then the West Virginia Mountaineers, garbage.
Hey, but West Virginia can do something. They can spoil. Once again, they can spoil Texas Tech season at the end of the year. Coming up next, we close up hour number 1 on Southeast Sports Plus. Welcome back to Southeast Sports Plus, hour number 1, closing up here. And I know Rice football hasn't offered very much to watch, I would say, over the last half
They had
decade.
JT Daniels for a second.
They had it for about an hour and a half, and it felt like they were rolling. They were good for a bit. But for the most part, not necessarily the Owls aren't the must-watch. However, there are a lot of reasons to be a Rice Owl now. and one of them is because what the school is doing with some alcohol sales.
I mean, we talked yesterday, North Texas trying to bid for that last group of, for the group of 5 champion. And you know what Rice is trying to do? They're trying to upend the season by giving out free beer to all the students on Saturday. Wow, what an incredible promotion. I don't know how much money you're going to lose by doing this, but I don't think they care because that is going to be an electric atmosphere, and I just need to know how fast can I enroll?
Right, exactly. When does this take effect?
I honestly might just go do it right now. We'll take a trip over to Houston. Who wouldn't want that?
I immediately went to go look to see if they have fraternities on campus, because I thought if that's the case, they're going to run out of beer before the first quarter ends.
They're going to have to ask them to bring some.
Right. But apparently they have no Greek life there. So that might be part of the reason why. It might be part of the reason why there. I see that, they have, they don't have any fraternities or sororities there. So no Greeks on campus. I mean, that might save them a little bit, but your student body out there, they're going to want to drink that free beer. Anything free with college kids, it's going to get down, especially something that they already don't want to pay for or want it for free.
Yeah.
Pizza and beer, that's it.
That's it. Honestly, that's a football game right there. But I mean, I'm just so shocked. Students get to drink free on Saturday. And, already 504,000 impressions on X.
Oh, of course.
I mean, just incredible. This is going around. It's spreading like a wildfire. But since there's betting for everything nowadays, I mean, you can't go anywhere without betting.
Yes.
What's the over-under on running out of beer before which quarter?
Oh, I would say that if I'm saying it, they'll run out. Let's make halftime the line of demarcation.
Okay.
I mean, I would have to say that the odds number on that is like minus 500.
Yeah, I could see that.
You need to put up 500 in order to win 100 to get that bet, because I think there's a 0% chance that there's free beer, a single drop of free beer by the third quarter.
I would. Oh yeah, that's for sure. You'd throw $100,000 in to win $1 there at that point. I think. I honestly think they could run out by halfway through the first quarter.
Oh, 100%.
Because everyone is going to be in there. And honestly, it gives you an incentive to get into the game early as well.
For sure.
Because one of the biggest things for students is, why would I leave my tailgate and go into the game early and have to pay $11, $15 for beer?
Okay, so now with that said, do you see this is possibly a trap here for North Texas? For North Texas,
it is definitely a trap.
North Texas will play in that game against Rice coming up on Saturday. That is a major.
They're gonna have to deal with a lot.
Oh yeah, major football game at 6:30 kickoff. So they might be well inebriated even before going into that contest. Hour number 2 of Southeast Sports Plus continues after the break.
In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus Live with Simone Eli and Gerhard Mathangani.
Another week and another set of questions for that man, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian. Once again, rumors have been out there about him leaving the program. He shut them down a few weeks ago. He's having to do the same once again. As you see, rumors to leave Texas. Where to, you ask? Some are saying the NFL, some are saying other college football jobs. But once again, Sark is saying no go. All of these things are false. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Patrick Walsh. Patrick, I really do find it interesting that I don't think that there was a time in where reporters would just ask questions and they wouldn't know very much. I think these days now, reporters are a little bit more informed. Now, if they're informed by Twitter or if they're informed by the forums or whatever, that's one thing. I don't find it interesting that he is shutting down the rumors. I find it interesting that they keep asking him about it because I haven't seen anything from the other side. For example, the NFL side, whether it's the Dolphins job, the Giants job, or whatever. I just find it interesting that these questions keep coming up to Coach.
And the thing is, when these coaches are asked these questions, what I like to do is I like to watch and see how they react to the question and how they respond to it.
Right.
And we'll play his response that he gave in his teleconference yesterday in a few minutes, but it almost sounds like I'm going to go back to what I said about Kirby Smart after the Auburn game, where it was like, they were clapping, and like him trying to cover it up. And
Right. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that afterwards. Like he had time to think about it, and then he came up with that elaborate.
You know, I feel like when these coaches do this, they're being so defensive because they're like, oh man, they're on to me.
They caught on.
They're on to me.
They caught on.
Kiffin he hasn't really been like actually, super mad about it. He's just been, nonchalant. It's just, it's so disrespectful. It isn't like, how dare you say that? Why would you say something like that? He's just been so nonchalant, He's like, to even talk about that would just be so disrespectful.
Right.
It's like such a laid back vibe. Sark is just mad.
And I don't know if he's mad because it's now repetitive. Or if, like you said, he's mad because it's a little bit more defensive. Here's Coach Sark once again shutting down rumors about leaving Austin.
I'd like to comment on something before I get into our team, something that has been bothering me now over the past few weeks, and that is people reporting that or insinuating that there's a possibility I could leave the University of Texas, and that is absolutely false and untrue. I'm not going anywhere. Never do I do this because I never want to be a distraction, so I never address these things. But at this point now, I feel like that is important that I do this because it's important for our team. It's important for our university. I've had no discussions, not with my agent, not with the university, not with any other school, not with any NFL team, about ever going anywhere else. I came here to win championships. I've got 2 kids enrolled at the University of Texas, one in law school, one on our team. I've got a third that hopefully decides to enroll at the University of Texas next fall, and my wife and I just had our son here in Austin. This is our home. We came here to win championships. We've built a damn good football program over the 5 years that we've been here. We've been to 2 college football playoffs. We won a Big 12 championship. We went to the SEC championship game in year 1. We've had 23 players drafted the last 2 years, which is more than any other school in the country. And our team GPA is at an all-time high. So can we please stop putting things out there that you have absolutely zero evidence on? And then can we please stop retweeting, putting it back out there as if it's true, as if it's the gospel? It is not true. If you have a question about my future, call me or call Chris Delconte, our athletic director, and we can set the record straight for you. So everybody understand. So moving forward, when some Joe Blow decides to put something on social media out there, we all don't run with it like it's the gospel. Can we all agree on that on this call? And if you have a question about my future with the University of Texas, ask me on one of these calls. Ask Chris Delconte. He'll be more than happy to take your call so that we can set the record straight, so that we can focus on our football team, which is really what we should be doing.
That is a 2-minute soliloquy.
Yes.
Hammering down the reports. Now, I found it really interesting because he opened the door this time. I know before he was talking about it in the sense of a press conference where the question was posed to him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe if other questions have been posed to him, maybe by his friends, because they're like their friends read it somewhere and then it gets back to him. And now he's agitated and talking about it. You said you'd like to, obviously that was on the SEC teleconference, so you didn't get a chance to see his body language, but like, what did you think of what he said and reading it the way that you do more from a psychological perspective?
You know, I feel like there's a lot of defensive moves there being made by Steve Sarkisian. And I mean, I will say it's got to be annoying, you know, constantly being asked about it. I mean, I'm sure Lane Kiffin is so tired of it at this point.
Right.
Eli's, I know, has set the record straight.
Mm-hmm.
He's tired of it. I mean, we're getting to that point of the year where you're just getting tired of all of this hoopla around the coaching carousel. I mean, it's crazier than it's ever been.
Right.
But right now, I don't even think he's done a good enough job this year to even warrant going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because he came in with Arch Manning, preseason Heisman candidate, and has had a bottom half SEC offense all year. Mm-hmm. And who is the play caller? Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
What was the downfall of Billy Napier? He wouldn't give up play calling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Sark is going to follow the same path as Napier. I feel like it warrants a comparison because Sark won't give up play calling. He said that. He thinks that the best aspect of his coaching ability is play calling.
Just calling the plays, yeah.
Even though Texas hasn't really had a great offense this year.
Right, and we saw that how that came home to roost with not only Billy Napier but also with Auburn's Hugh Freeze as well.
Yeah.
And just how much play calling. It is a it's a delicate balance if you are going to continue to call plays, because most of these guys obviously are coordinators. So if you're going to continue those duties as well as, you know, be in charge of the entire team, you're walking a fine line and a tight rope. I think the Billy Napier comparison is an interesting one because if you are Steve Sarkisian, obviously you ultimately don't want what happened to Billy Napier to happen to you.
And Hugh Freeze.
For sure. But you could see the footprints in the sand, so to speak. Hey, is the team underachieving, and is the reason why because this is happening? I do feel with that statement, I feel like it is strong enough to where I think most of these coaches understand that everything they say now, whether it's a private conversation or whatever, that all this stuff now is out there for forever.
Right.
I feel like with what he said in the SEC teleconference, he can't leave. And so now I do think even if he was sniffing around in Miami, or even if he was thinking about taking that job over in Nashville with the Tennessee Titans, even if he was thinking about taking any of these head coaching vacancies, or maybe even one in college football, I don't think you can say what you said there on the front end and have that happen. I think you leave people in mystery. I think you leave people, you know, open-minded, so to speak. What I think he's trying to do now is trying to stop the questioning from his people, because I don't know what was landing on his desk.
Right.
Like his assistant coaches are maybe saying, you know, hey, coach, we need to be looking for jobs. The AD or whoever at the school is saying, hey, are these rumors true? I heard it from Billy Bob 6789 on Twitter. or on the message boards or whatever.
Joe Schmo.
Yeah, some Joe Schmo as Drink called it. So, or actually, as Sark called it.
Yeah.
I think they all have like little
code words.
antagonizing nicknames for now. But I just do feel like that this is an interesting coaching cycle for the team, for the people who are already in it, and Sark putting his stamp on, hey, I'm not going to be unless I'm made available by them firing.
Well, let's also compare these jobs that he's so-called rumored to be linked to.
Yeah.
He's at Texas right now.
Right.
Texas obviously underachieving this year, probably won't make the college football playoff because of that loss to Georgia and by the amount that they lost by. First, let's look at the Titans. Do the Titans have a better future than the Texas Longhorns?
Unless you believe in Cam Ward, which I don't personally. I don't believe that he is, the next up-and-coming guy. If you believe that you have a good relationship with the general manager and you can help build that roster.
We heard from Corey Curtis. I mean, he doesn't even trust him. So why would you want to leave Texas for there?
Right.
Just because it's the NFL doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah.
And then Miami. Does Miami have a better future than Texas?
So you're saddled with a quarterback with a crazy contract. I mean, he's $200 million plus.
And health in question as well.
That's the biggest thing.
You can't ignore that.
That's the biggest thing. And I think obviously he has familiarity with Tua, with their, obviously their ties to Alabama. But I just think that if you're Sark, none of the NFL jobs that are open, those two and the New York Giants job, none of those outweigh what you have right now in Austin. None.
No, because then you have to deal with general managers. Then you have to deal with owners rather than a board of trustees and whatever, and like your NIL donors. I think Texas is a much better brand than all of those. Maybe the Giants has a better brand, but they haven't been playing a better brand of football here as of late.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you could actually make the argument that the Giants have a brighter future than the Texas Longhorns because of Dart, because of Scadaboo, because of Neighbors, because of Wan'Dale Robinson, and like the defense has started to come along. It's just they've had to deal with injuries all year.
Yeah.
But I just don't see Sark wanting to go to the NFL yet.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe down the line if he wants to explore that route, sure, be my guest. But I think he really does like what he's doing in Austin right now. And I just don't see him leaving. I mean, he's going to have a team that'll compete for the SEC pretty much every year. I know this year has been like a one-off, but I mean, you're dealing with a guy that's making his first start, all of that height, or first year as a starter in Arch Manning. And, he didn't have a great year. The year's not over yet. I mean, who knows? Maybe if they blow out A&M, then you could make the argument that Texas should be in. But I think you have to win that game by 30.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to. In my opinion, you have to win it by a lot, not just win it. And I don't see them winning that game as it stands right now, just the way Texas A&M is playing. What I do find a bit interesting about where he stands right now is I could see him wanting to leave if the college coaching also had to mean that you were dealing with all the NIL and all that stuff. With the now heavy presence of agents, of general managers, a lot of the stuff outside of football is kind of taken care of. So he can kind of focus more on the football side of it. I do get that there are some headaches being able to keep guys out of the portal, keep people, take them in and out of the portal. But those, to me, do not supersede the job. I mean, those problems don't supersede NFL problems and NFL issues, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and I honestly think moving over to the other side of the rivalry, which we'll go to after the break here, Oklahoma, I mean, our friend Jim Nagy, he probably handles all of the problems that Brent Venables could have.
100%.
Brent Venables just has to worry about his defense, which played pretty well against Alabama this past weekend. I just don't think Sark's leaving, but that would add another twist, and it would just continue to prove that my point that Lane Kiffin is going to be the highest paid coach in college football this year. Because if that's the case, you've got 4 teams trying to get him.
That would be unbelievable. And I don't know if I could see if Sark. Let's just say Sark leaves in a hypothetical world. Sark leaves. I don't see.
It's not gonna happen.
I don't see Lane at Texas. I just don't. It would be poetic though, given the fact that those two have that history. Sark and Lane have the history going all the way back to their days at Southern California. Coming up next here on Southeast Sports Plus, we will talk some Oklahoma Sooners football with the genius, I would say,
the betting genius,
and the fortune teller. Holton Cruzmark joins us next. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, Gerhard Mathangani, Patrick Walsh with you, and I think one of the maybe more, I would say not surprising might not be the word, but definitely one of the more eyebrow-raising performances was another road performance by the Oklahoma Sooners. Proud to be joined by our good friend Holden Cruzmark there in Oklahoma City. You gave us a lot of betting advice last week, took some of that to the bank, literally, and now some I would say some I don't even know the word, because I feel like surprised is almost disrespectful to this team given their expectations in the season. But
I don't think it's wrong, though.
Yes, me too. Okay.
I think it's surprising.
Right.
How many teams walk into Tuscaloosa and walk away with a win?
That's right.
No one under Kalen DeBoer?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I would actually stretch it out the last 2 weeks because, and maybe I'm just using my own biases here, because I did not pick them against Tennessee. I did not pick them against Alabama, and they go on the road to Neyland and to Bryant-Denny, two really tough places to play, and they're able to get a win. What did you make of the way that the game played out there and being able to force those turnovers and for the Sooners to get that win?
Yeah, and the crazy thing about this team is you just sit there and you go, man, if their offense could just be like slightly above average, then like, holy cow, like the sky's the limit with this team, because this defense is, clearly elite and good enough to compete for a national championship. But they're being held back by the offense a little bit. And the offense is able to do enough to get wins. Obviously, Tate Sandell has kind of been the MVP for this team, just because, the offense isn't really getting the ball in the end zone. But as long as they're getting it somewhat close enough for him to kick a field goal, the dude's just been nails this year. So, if they didn't have this kid, and it's funny, I remember over the offseason, one of my friends he saw the news about Sandell transferring in. He's like, "Oh, this is big," and I was like, I mean, he's a kicker from UTSA. Like, what do you know about UTSA football?
And the shorts get shorter every time he makes a kick.
Shout out to my friend. Obviously, he had been watching UTSA football, and he knew Tate Sandell's the truth. And, it's crazy to think about where this team would be without him. They definitely would have a couple fewer wins on their ledger right now.
Absolutely. Brent Venables always, does a great job of scheming up defenses. And one of the big things with this team is being able to take the ball away from the other team. You saw it in the Auburn game with the sacks, saw it in the Bama game, both on the defense and on the special teams. What did you make there of Brent Venables' game plan against an offense that came in? They were struggling a little bit going into that game, but over the course of the last month or so, they've been playing really good football.
Yeah, and I remember there was a point in time this year where I think OU was one of the last teams to force a takeaway on the season, like in entire FBS. And you were kind of like, well, when, it's kind of weird for how good this defense is that they're not forcing turnovers. And now here they come in, and I mean, to force it, 3 turnovers against an Alabama team that really takes care of the ball. Right. That was pretty impressive to see. And, hey, maybe they didn't need the turnovers early. They were saving them for later because they knew they'd need them against the likes of Alabama and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy watching this defense. In fact, going back to
did we lose it?
I think we might have lost him there for a second. Might have lost him.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see if we can get him back. But but one of the big things that I thought of going into that football game was, and I think he was about to hit on it, the fact that they're so deep. Defensively, and we saw it with Wine. R. Mason Thomas, they're one of their best defenders, was not in the game at all with an injury. Wine comes in and he was phenomenal. As we try to get Holden back on, here is Coach Brent Venables on trying to shut down their next opponent, because it's another good opponent and it's another good individual player coming off a 300-yard performance last week, Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to win up front. I mean, if you're gonna, I think that's where it starts. They're doing a great job of knocking people off the line of scrimmage, both the inside and outside run game. They're all their gap schemes, and they do a nice job with all their presentations. But that's where it all kind of starts. And then you got to have great discipline in your run fits. And they got an excellent play action, and passing game off of that. They're not, naive. So again, if you got a great rush defense, then they're going to want to stay on schedule. So the quick throwing game, the screens, the boots, the shot plays, the trick plays, the flea flickers and reverses and all those kind of things to test your discipline. Very option principle concepts, except they throw the ball better than most option teams. So just all the things that that I just said it's going to take: the physicality, the discipline, reading our keys correctly for running past, things of that nature.
Absolutely. We got Holden back, and he was talking there about stopping Ahmad Hardy, but it kind of leads to the bigger point that you were talking about with this defense overall, playing shorthanded without one of the best defenders on the team, or Mason Thomas, not on the field, but guys just stepping up on that deep defense.
Yeah, I think the OU defense forced another takeaway on my Wi-Fi connection there. That's the only explanation I've got here is they're still doing it in the middle of the week right now. They're getting ready for the Missouri game. So yeah, this I think will be kind of one of the more interesting matchups, because we've talked about how good the defense is, particularly against stopping the run.
Yeah.
And Missouri maybe has the best running game that they've faced, just in terms of what Ahmad Hardy's been able to do for them. And I know he had a big game out last week. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see, what both teams try to do to, for OU to try to slow him down. If it's just, hey, we do a good job already, or do we need a game plan for him a little bit more, or what? And is Missouri going to be like, hey, it's pretty hard to run the ball against these guys. Maybe we should throw it. Maybe we should listen to our guy Holden Kruzmark and abandon the run game against this OU defense, But I know they're without their starting quarterback, so I can't imagine that they're going to want to throw the ball too much. So I would take the under on whatever the total points is for this game, just based on the way
we'll get you that right now.
Based on the way the OU defense has played, or the OU offense has played, and
right.
The way the OU defense has played. It seems like this one might be a pretty low scoring one if I had to bet on this game.
All right, I got it. It's 42.5.
So that's.
And Oklahoma's by 7.5.
7.5 favorite.
Quick math.
Estimated score 8 divided by 4 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4.
I could see it being 21-17.
That's in that neighborhood. It's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah. That's in that neighborhood. So, honestly, I could see that as well. A lower scoring game. I didn't know what the weather's supposed to be like. 54 degrees, according to AccuWeather. It should be pretty decent there. It's 11 a.m. Kickoff. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about as it relates not only to this team, but as they get ready for this next football game on offense. I think I read that the 212 yards, 220 yards on offense was the lowest total in an Oklahoma win, and I don't know how long. 220 yards feels like 1950s football to be able to come away with a win. What did you make of Ben Arbuckle's offense and the way that John Mateer played in the game, getting the win, even though the numbers, the counting stats weren't as gaudy as usual?
Yeah, it's not very often you see a team get outgained by nearly 200 yards and win on the road.
Right.
That's, pretty much unheard of. College football is a wacky sport. It happens from time to time, but I'm sure if you told Brent Venables, hey, you're going to get outgained by nearly 200 yards, he would be like, well, I don't know if we're going to win this game against Alabama.
Right.
But, it's interesting. I know Xavier Robinson kind of left the game at one point, and that kind of affected them. They're saying they're a little banged up at running back, which they kind of have been for a while now. I don't think Taylor Tatum has played a single snap this entire year. Javonte Barnes hasn't played much, or hasn't played at all. He's been injured. So it really has kind of come down to just Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock, and Blaylock seems like he's been battling an injury. I know he had a shoulder thing early in the season, and it seems like he's kind of been battling through that all season. So, it really, here we are coming back down to it's how far OU goes is going to be on the shoulders of John Mateer, because we know the defense is going to make some plays and keep them in it. but can we get the Mateer that, helped them win the Michigan and Auburn games, or the Mateer where it's like they've kind of been winning in spite of him?
Right.
Because he just isn't, he just hasn't been the same. I mean, obviously you break your thumb, it's pretty hard to be the same guy after that until you're fully healed. And while you keep taking hits, I don't think you can get fully healed on a thumb and all of this stuff. So yeah, Mateer to me is just, he's going to be the deciding factor of how far this team can go. If he can play like he did early in the season, this is a team that has a real chance at going to the semifinals. I'm not going to say that they're a national championship team, but this is the team that, with that defense and the right matchups, that they can win a couple games in the playoff. And the way they're going right now, they're kind of in line on track to host a first round playoff game.
Right.
And so that'll be pretty cool to see here in Norman. You get to host a playoff game, and just I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be pretty crazy for that. But you have to take care of business first, and you got to beat Missouri, and you got to beat LSU, and was one thing that I was talking about with some of my friends after the game. I was like, can you imagine the discourse around this OU team if they finished the season 9-3 by losing to LSU at home to end the season?
I know.
Oh, man.
I know.
That would just, you would get some of the most
rivalry.
toxic opinions about this. You'd have, I mean, this team that won on the road to, against Tennessee and Alabama. You got good wins against Michigan and stuff, and then just to.
There's no coming back from that.
And this team in the past has talked about how they haven't handled success well.
Yeah.
It was one, thing a couple years ago where they beat Texas in the Red River rivalry and then lost to OSU and Kansas on the road and kind of, derailed their season and everything. And so and they beat Alabama last year, and then they were very uncompetitive against LSU in the finale down in Baton Rouge. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they're up there in terms of success that they've achieved this season right now, and now it's how can you handle it? Because Missouri and LSU aren't going to be pushovers. I'm sure LSU still wants to win. They've got a couple former OU players on their roster, so that's probably something on their minds and everything. So I just don't expect either of these teams to be pushovers, and the offense has got to do some things. They can't keep living like this. It's worked so far, but they can't keep living like this.
Yeah, it feels like they are living on borrowed time with this offense, and it's been a package deal. The two new guys that are in Norman, Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. Let's hear from the OC on his QB1.
I think it comes down to it's not one just singular thing. It's maybe I got to call him more, or John's got to throw it, or we got to come down and make the catch, But at the end of the day, we do have to do that to be able to generate explosive plays, push the ball down the field, and continue moving to get the ball in scoring position. And so we have to continue doing that. We have to practice it. We have to rep it. We have to demand it. And ultimately, we have to go out there and execute it.
Well, I tell you what, Brent Venables last year was on the hot seat. And I think now, looking in hindsight, Oklahoma controls their own destiny to make the college football playoff, and I think he should be very mad at Jackson Arnold, because Jackson Arnold almost just cost him his job at Oklahoma, and now Jackson Arnold probably will never throw another pass in college football. But real quick, I know you're very busy. We got to talk Thunder real quick, because SGA is just having another insane year. But honestly, at this point, it's just like, it's just another day at the office.
Yeah, and Jackson Arnold might be a coach killer at this point. I mean, he got his offensive coordinator fired last year, nearly got Brent Venables fired. Now he's got Hugh Freeze. I hate to.
I cannot say what I want to say.
He's a nice kid. I enjoyed covering him at OU, but man, he has been disappointing to two really good college football programs these past 2 years. So. Anyways, the Thunder, they're pretty good. Jackson Arnold wishes he could have the offensive firepower that SGA possesses. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's like the dude just walks into the building and drops 30 points. Could do it in his sleep, probably.
Yeah.
It's insane what he's doing, what they're doing. I mean, they're 15-1 now. It's And, you know,
73-9 Warriors all over again.
There hadn't been too many close games so
That's-
far
yeah.
this season because Shea I think he hasn't played in the fourth quarter in like 8 games already, which is half their games they've played. And he's still, he's still getting 30 points in those games. That's crazy. He's, through 3 quarters, he'll have 32 points and then won't even play the fourth.
On Monday, I talked about on the show.
This one hurt. This one hurt me.
I had 3 bad beats this past weekend. I was 3 legs away on 1 leg away on each of my 3 parlays from like $1,900. And I threw some money down on the Thunder this past weekend. I had Chet over 15 points, which I hit pretty easily, I'm pretty sure. And then I also had SGA assists over 6.5. That hit easily. But I took the under on 30.5 against the Hornets because I thought they were going to blow them out. So he would sit out the fourth quarter. And then he scores 33 points.
33 in just about as much time.
Were you watching that game? Because talk about like an awful uniform matchup. That was just gross.
Which one?
Watching
the Hornets one?
Thunder game. Yeah, that court they're wearing the orange jerseys
with
a blue court, while the Thunder are wearing their road blues.
Yes.
And it was a super weird combination. I was not a fan.
Can we talk about the Thunder uniforms though real quick? Because these are pretty sweet.
These are nice.
Yeah.
And so they had a similar kind of style uniform back when Paul George was there. And it was kind of, if you see that lighter kind of teal on the trim,
right.
that was the main color of the jersey, and it's one of my favorites that the Thunder have done. And so I was super hyped when they announced they were kind of bringing it back this year with just a little bit of a twist on it. And it's, to be honest, it's one of my least favorite things about the NBA right now is that they have to have different jerseys every year.
Yes.
There should just be some that you don't mess with. The Miami Vice ones, awesome.
Yeah.
Never need to go away. The Spurs ones that they've had over the years, those have been really fun. Those have been good. And these native-inspired OKC ones, these are just awesome. They need to stay around for forever. And let's just... I like the idea of getting new uniforms and stuff like that, but
absolutely.
then the constant, changing every year leads to some bad ones. Specifically what the Hornets were wearing this weekend. It just, we can chill out a little bit. If you get a good one, you can just keep it.
Just stay with it.
Yeah, I was in Minnesota when they had their Prince-inspired
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
Those were really nice.
Yeah.
The purple ones, those were really nice. I really liked those. But then next year it just goes away.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Whatever.
I think if you do stumble on a good one, then you just keep that one. And I think the franchise should allow it. I think he and our main news anchor, Peter Albrecht, who's from Minnesota, you two would have a great debate because he hates everything that's new. He hates the city uniforms. He hates the Twins uniforms when they go to the cityscapes or whatever it's called. He absolutely hates them. But I do get the logic behind it, and I do get the fact that they're wanting to obviously sell more jerseys to the kiddos. Holden, you've been great. Certainly appreciate it. I know you've been very, very busy. Lots of hoops, lots of football. Thank you for your time.
See you guys.
Absolutely. Holden Kruzmark joining us from Oklahoma City. And he outlined it, just how busy they are right now, but not only with the Sooners and a new coaching search there at Oklahoma State, but also good basketball everywhere, including actually at the top of the heap, their professional basketball team.
Yeah, SGA free throw. I say it all the time. All the time. That'll never escape me, but you gotta be nice to him. Former Kentucky guy, but I think we talked about it with Brian on Monday. Nobody could have expected him to burst onto the scene after the Paul George trade, and it just looks dumber and dumber for the Clippers by the day.
Not at all. And I'll give some people the a bit of a peek behind the curtain here. Patrick, he rails against this team, maybe because his Pacers lost to him last year. I have no idea the reason why. But one of the things
because Sam Presti shouldn't be getting this right. Oklahoma City fans hated this dude for the longest time because they couldn't get over the hump and then just like Kevin Durant leave. And then they just became obsolete and just letting Russell Westbrook just get triple doubles every night.
And now it might be a dynasty among dynasties. However, the peek behind the curtain was this. Patrick puts together our show. He puts together these rundowns. On the left side is the actual topic. He put Free Throw King on there. A little slight dig at SGA. But to his point, number 2 went to the line 24 times in their last game.
I'm not wrong, bro. I'm not wrong, bro.
He had 24 of their free throws. Actually, sorry. 24 field goals. 10 free throws, but 10 the week before that as well. He gets to the free throw line a lot. And now that he's a superstar, that ain't quitting. That ain't not stopping at all. Southeast Sports Plus continues after the break. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, it's a Thursday staple looking ahead to the NFL game coming up tonight. For the first time in a couple of weeks, it's not a division game, but it is still a pretty intriguing matchup as you take a look at one side's offense and the other side's defense. It is Houston and Buffalo. The Bills will travel to play the Houston Texans to open up Week 12 on Thursday Night Football. Of course, Josh Allen coming off an amazing, amazing football game.
Unreal.
6 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 3 through the air. But now he faces the number 1 defense in the NFL in the Houston Texans. One of the things that Holden Kuzmark just talked about with the Oklahoma Sooners is, hey, the defense has been amazing. If the offense could just be something, then they would actually, be a pretty decent football, actually more than a decent football team. They'd kind of be upper echelon. I think the Houston Texans are thinking the same thing. However, some sad news to report from their offensive standpoint. Their quarterback will not be playing in the game. Starting quarterback is out, and it is Davis Mills who will get the start with C.J. Stroud still out under concussion protocol.
And I think this is the third straight game where Stroud is out. Either the third straight or the second straight. Second straight, and he left the one game early. But I think with it being such a short week, if this game were on Sunday, I think he would play. So
I'm with you.
With next week being a long week, since you play on Thursday, don't play again, I think, until Sunday is my guess. I think it's just precautionary at this point. But second straight week, we've got an AFC East team in it.
That's true, yeah.
And Buffalo, as you mentioned, coming off a huge one. We'll talk about Josh Allen here in a second. But I feel like this guy right here doesn't really get as much love.
100%.
He's starting to, in the last few years, as Josh Allen likes to say, let James cook, because James Cook cooks.
Yeah.
And he's been leading the ground game ever since Devin Singletary left Buffalo. Obviously, former Georgia standout. Surely is going to get another 1,000-yard rushing season. It's got 7 touchdowns here this year. Honestly, I think him and Allen are the perfect 1-2 punch, because him and Josh Allen are you could easily make the argument that they're the 2 best players on the offense.
Absolutely.
One question I had about Buffalo coming into this year is, are you really going to rely on Khalil Shakir to be your number 1 wide receiver?
Right.
And we've seen Keon Coleman, thought he was going to be really good. He had a great senior year at Florida State. Jordan Travis, I felt like he was just Keon Coleman machine.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't seem like he's really been able to develop into what we've seen.
Right.
I know he did not play, I think, last game due to a coach's decision because he missed a team meeting. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, he started off kind of as a fan favorite. If you watch all of his press conferences in his rookie season and whatnot, it just feels like something is slipping there with Keon Coleman, because he kind of had the trajectory of a superstar in the NFL, and it hasn't really been that. I think a lot of people saw him go to Buffalo and they're like, oh no, Josh is a true number 1, and it just hasn't really panned out that way. But to your point about James Cook, the offense really has, mainly because of not only Josh Allen, but the former Georgia star.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo is at an interesting crossroads here, because the Chiefs are going through this right now, but the Chiefs have already won their Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Buffalo needs to win now.
Yeah.
Because not only is Josh Allen getting older, he's going to get more expensive.
Right.
But the thing that made the Bills, and what ended the playoff streak, and what Sean McDermott wanted to do with his team, was to rebuild the defense.
Yes.
And the defense was so bad in the early 2010s. I mean, it was just laughable. And slowly did he start building the defense with Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and all of the other guys.
They even tried with guys like Von
Tremaine
Miller.
Edmonds back in the day as well.
Yeah, signed Von Miller, signed a couple of high profile free agents to help build that defense.
And they're just getting older. I think Poyer's in his 12th year. He's probably got 1 or 2 years left. The defense is starting to dwindle a little bit, but this guy right here is definitely not dwindling, and you need to win in the next 3 years for him. Otherwise, he's just going to be another Jim Kelly, unfortunately.
It feels like their window has been open for a while, but you can feel it starting to close a little bit, and I don't know if that means they'll look to make a coaching change or whatnot, but this is a Buffalo Bills team that I think that if you go back and look, if you spin it forward, you go back and look at Josh's career, I think a lot of people will see these years as kind of like, oh, how did that team not win a Super Bowl as loaded as they were there? So and with Josh, I think there's a bit of an up and down to his game though as well. It hasn't always been crystal clear the entire time. He talked a little bit about not playing well there in spurts, especially against the Texans the last time they played.
Yeah, and honestly, he said that he didn't even play well last game, which I think is shocking.
Insane, yeah.
But let the Bills QB tell you himself.
I didn't play too well. I don't think so. Obviously in that second half we got things rolling. The dumb boneheaded decision early on, trying not to take a sack, and the one to Dawson, 4th down, trying to sneak one in there. Those plays are happening, but that first one just can't happen. But there was a couple throws throughout the game that I just feel like I want back. The one to Khalil, ball came out really good. The nose just didn't turn down. The wind just kind of sailed it high on me. There was one to Josh Palmer on the naked where I was kind of in between steps, but again, that's a throw that I should make. The one to Reggie in the end 2-point conversion, the ball on the way up hit my thigh pad and was coming out of my hand, so it was wobbling a little bit, but again, just better mechanics put me in a better spot to throw that ball there. But I can go down the list. There was just too many throws that I feel like I don't miss, and there's really no excuse for that. It's just going out there and, again, trusting the guys, and I need to make those plays when the opportunities are there, and I'm confident that we can still get things going there.
I think a lot of SEC teams are really mad at themselves for not signing Josh Allen coming out of high school. Ended up going to a very small college over Wyoming. And really balled out. But there are several ties to the SEC here in this game. We'll start with the Buffalo Bills here, and starting with your guy, James Cook.
Yeah, James Cook out of Georgia there really burst onto the scene, signed that big extension with Buffalo this past offseason. Can't forget about Ray Davis, also with Kentucky. McCole Hardman coming over from, I believe, the last team he was on was the Packers.
That's right, yeah.
Out of Georgia. So he's been a journeyman in the NFL the last few years. Elijah Moore and then Joshua Palmer out of Ole Miss and Tennessee, respectively. Dawson Knox also burst onto the scene coming out of Ole Miss. Osiris Torrance out of Florida. Fedarian Mathis from Alabama. Jordan Phillips from Oklahoma, and TJ Sanders after that big year last year with the South Carolina Gamecocks. And rounding out the former SEC standouts, Deion Walker from Kentucky, Maxwell Hairston, also from Kentucky, Tre'Davious White. We talked about it. He's starting to get up there in age. He's been a core piece for this Bills defense for a long time. And Reed Ferguson, the long snapper out of LSU.
Yeah. And Houston is a favorite in this game, mainly because C.J. Stroud is out.
Houston is a dog.
Buffalo is the favorite because C.J. Stroud is out here in this game, and it just really stinks because a lot of times with a team like Houston in a season like Stroud had his rookie season, it felt like the trajectory was going this way. But both personally and from a team perspective, it's kind of gone the other way on offense. But they still do have the number one defense in the league.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Defenses are going to keep you in games no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just CJ had that amazing rookie year and led him to the playoffs, but everyone talks about, all right, sophomore slump.
Yep.
And I really think you saw that in year two. I know they still made the playoffs, but still there was a lot of question around, like, okay, is CJ Stroud able to keep it up? Because, yeah, you can come into the league, and this is true across any sport. You can come into the league, have your best stuff, play your game, and you can catch teams by surprise because they don't have any film on you. But the second a team finds a weakness, they are going to exploit it. I don't care if you're a quarterback. I don't care if you're a pitcher. I don't care if you're a hitter. It does not matter. Some teams will find out what you're not good at. You just got to be able to bounce right back.
Can you adjust and figure it out? He did that in college, and you saw it. You saw the remnants of that in college when they were, okay, we'll take away the pass. Can you run? And I remember he had a semifinal game. He ran for like 130 yards there in college.
That Ohio State team, sorry. That Ohio State wide receiver room was just absolutely loaded. I mean, you got JSN balling out for Seattle right now. Garrett Wilson, who
on that team,
unfortunately is stuck in New York right now. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts.
No question about it. And there's also a lot of former SEC players on the Houston Texans as well. Not only players, but their head coach, former Alabama linebacker D'Amico Ryans, joining a lot of guys. I had no idea Graham Mertz was here on this team as QB3. I would think now QB2.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Graham Mertz tonight, barring something crazy happening to Davis Mills. But gotta give him some love there. Nick Chubb trying to find himself. Big news coming out today from Houston that lead running back Joe Mixon will not play at all this year. So Nick Chubb should get a lot of carries. Damian Pierce coming from Florida. Nick Chubb obviously having to deal with Woody Marks, I think, is the lead back right now. And Jacob Johnson coming from Tennessee, moving it right along. Christian Kirk from Texas A&M. Ed Ingram from LSU. Trent Brown from Florida. Will Anderson Jr., one of the great defensive ends there for Alabama, highly touted. I think it was in the 2023 draft.
Yes, number 2 overall. It was him and CJ. Or her number 3 overall. Second pick for them.
Moving on here, Danico Autry, Mississippi State. Derek Barnett, Tennessee. Danielle Hunter from LSU. And Christian Harris from Alabama. And then rounding it out here, is it Henry To'o? To'o.
Henry To'o, yeah. Tennessee and Alabama.
Yes, Tennessee and Alabama. The space didn't allow us to put Tennessee on there.
Exactly.
Kamari Lassiter from Georgia, Derek Stingley Jr., and Tommy Townsend, which I find it interesting that he's in Houston now because I think he was the Chiefs punter for a long time.
Right. And we see some of those guys bounce around there, but you could tell that the Houston brass really likes guys that are from the SEC. Do you want to do the best bets here, or you want to do it?
We'll do it on the other side of the break.
All right, other side of the break. Have our best bets for Thursday Night Football. Stay here. We are closing up shop here on this Thursday, and we're talking the NFL Week 12 of the season. It kicks off tonight with Thursday Night Football. This game is in Houston as the Buffalo Bills and Houston Texans go at it. The Houston Texans are a 5.5-point dog. Last I saw it opened at 3, but it moved to 5. And you figure a lot of that early money came in after the news about C.J. Stroud not playing in the game. But that's one bet. Let's get to our best bets.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start us off here. I think Josh Allen is just going to be able to keep the train rolling. Obviously, last week had the unreal game, 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns. Just unreal numbers. Him and Otto Graham are the only ones to ever do that.
Right.
Which I thought was very interesting.
That is.
And it's also interesting that Josh Allen has done that twice now in his career. 3 pass touchdowns. 3 pass touchdowns, 3 rush touchdowns. I don't really care about the defense, but at the same time, I do care about the defense because I think he's going to throw for under 220. You know, Josh Allen, him and honestly, the Atlanta Falcons are very much alike because they've just had up and down seasons.
Yes.
Josh Allen looks like the MVP one week, and then the next week, you know, it's just been so strange. You can go back to the Miami game 2 weeks ago where he just looked awful, and then he came out with a vengeance against Tampa Bay last week. So you just never know what you're going to get. And honestly, it's become a Thursday night staple at this point. You just got to take the under.
Just take the under almost blindly.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at the same time, he's probably going to score a touchdown on the ground, but I don't think he's going to run too much because he's probably a little sore. He took a lot of hits last week.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, with guys like Will Anderson on the other side, you would think, hey, this is a game you could fly in, try to get your win no matter what it is, and then fly out. And instead of just, you know, trying to put up a whole bunch of points. But to your point about the kind of seesaw year that they've had so far, you know, he threw 163 yards in a 40-9 win over Carolina. So it's like that doesn't make sense. And then he throws for, I think he threw for like 300 in their loss against Miami, 306.
And he didn't even have to throw that much against Carolina though, because I think that's when James Cook had like 200 yards on the ground.
Right, exactly.
With that 1-2 punch again.
Yep, and that feeds into my best of bets coming in here because you mentioned James Cook, and I think at anytime touchdown, it might as well just say free money because I just do think that anytime they get into the red zone, I don't care how good the defense is. In my world, I think he's going to get it done. And I have once again, I like to pull these I like to pull these kind of quirkier prop bets.
Yeah.
I got Josh Allen over a half an interception. I think he throws one interception to this defense. I think this defense is just so good that, especially early in the game, Josh might be pressing a little bit, not very much, but might be pressing a little bit. Throws one into the teeth of the defense, ends up turning it over. And I do think, because I think Buffalo is going to get out to a healthy lead, let's call it maybe 14, 17 points in the first half, maybe 24. Wow. I don't see this game being close. I see it being under, but I could see like a 27-10 kind of game.
Yeah.
28-10, 28-7. But because of that, I think that Davis Mills and the Houston offense will be playing catch up. So with that said, I like over 213 and 213.5 yards, not because he's going to ball out, but just because I think the Houston defense, the Buffalo defense will be playing back a little bit, and I do think he backdoors his way in there.
Yeah, and I think this is a Buffalo defense that we talked about in the last segment there. You know, they're getting up there in age, trying to just keep on piecing things together. Sean McDermott has really changed course for this Bills program that it just could not even tread water post Jim Kelly, and he came in and completely changed the culture. Never forget. Obviously, I'm from up there, so I'm not a Bills fan though. I'm a Cowboys fan. But I remember everyone was just going crazy for the Andy Dalton touchdown to A.J. Green that got the Bills in the playoffs, and honestly played a really good game against Jacksonville. Who I think that was the year Jacksonville went to the AFC Championship
game. Yeah.
So, I mean, that wasn't even a bad loss.
Right. Yeah. We had that was with Mike Vrabel there. And, I mean, keep in mind, we're so used to, over the last 5-6 years, Buffalo being atop the division.
Yeah.
They're right now looking up at the Patriots, and as of right now, New England has the tiebreaker against them, so essentially up, a game and a half on this thing. Drake May's been absolutely incredible for the football team, and I've had a big smile on my face all season long because of it. But as of right now, Patriots 9-2, Bills 7-3. So they need to win this game just to keep pace, and then hopefully they, get revenge on the Patriots. Hopefully the Patriots fall in their eyes, or they get revenge.
Here's the good thing for the Bills is if you make the playoffs, you probably don't have to deal with your nemesis.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I can count on two hands at this point the amount of times the Bills should have been playing for the Super Bowl. I thought they were going to last year. But Pat Mahomes just always seems to get his way. He lets the Bills beat him in the regular season, and then comes back in the postseason and just crushes their hopes and dreams. So, I mean, Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs this year. This is the Bills' year. They have to win, but the Patriots stand in their way.
Yep, the door is wide open for these Buffalo Bills. If they want to be able to get a win, we'll look at tomorrow and all those players with SEC ties, and we'll have our show 2 to 4 tomorrow. See you then.